Hi everyone. My name is Glo Jackson. I use they them pronouns. As for my visual description, I am a white person. I have short brown hair that currently is green right now because I need to re-dye. I had blue hair. I'm wearing a white sweatshirt with Starry Night by Van Gogh. Um,
Spectrum, an intersecting identity between two things. What does this mean? In Spectrum, I explore how intersectionality not only exists within the disabled community, but is highly prevalent. Oftentimes, I find that most people only see my disability and don't take time to get to know me as a person. They see my wheelchair and that is all. This is why Spectrum is important to me. To show people that disabled individuals are more than their disabilities. We deserve every chance to be seen and heard. Let me tell you a bit about myself first. Next slide. Glo Jackson, age 17, pronouns they, them. Next slide. My name is Glo Jackson. I'm a 17-year-old senior at the Henry Viscardi School. I also have spina bifida. Spina bifida is technically considered a birth defect. What do you hear when you think of the word defect? It is probably something bad, right? You probably think of a weakness or even a flaw or something that limits me. I will be the first to tell you that this is far from true. Although at times it can be frustrating, I can confidently say that I am extremely proud to have spina bifida. My disability is not the only complex part of my identity. I also identify within the LGBTQ plus community, and I am Latina. All of these identities are extremely important to me, hence the creation of this project. This project is meant to show the world that individuals with disabilities are much more than what meets the eye. We are complex individuals with complex identities. We deserve every chance to be seen and heard. That's what Spectrum is about. Next slide. Next slide. Jessica Delonzo, age 20, pronouns she, her. Next slide. Although she be but little, she is fierce. I live by this every day. You may ask why. I am 4'3" and I do not let my shortness stop me from being a badass and fierce. My name is Jessica Delonzo. I am 20 years old. I am diagnosed with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome type 7A, a connective tissue disorder that lacks a protein called collagen, essentially impacting my muscles and joints. I like to call myself a Rice Krispie. I snap, crackle, and pop. This is due to the collagens in my body. My joints go out more than I do. EDS, in addition, I have severe joint hypermobility, congenital hip dislocation, hyper-accessible skin, elastic skin, and I am susceptible to bruises and tear easily. I also have cryptoscoliosis, clinosis, and scoliosis. Anyway, enough about my disability. Let's get to the good stuff. I am in my third year at Queens College, double majoring in elementary and early childhood education and psychology. I also want to be a disability rights lawyer and fight for those who are unable to on their own. Concluding with an important message, remember to find happiness every day and do not let bad moments turn into a bad day. Surround yourself with people who make you laugh and feel valued. Embrace your loved ones. Let go of relationships that no longer add value to your life, and always do what makes you happy. Do things that scare you. They are worth it. Take a day off from work or school for your overall health. This is the highest priority. Fulfill your purpose in life. Live to the fullest. Tomorrow is not promised. Be you always. Next slide. Next slide. Emma Greenfield, age 21, pronouns she, her. Next slide. Disability affects identity and vice versa. I would certainly be lying if I were to say it didn't. I have spastic bilateral quadriplegic cerebral palsy, 5 big fancy words that signify all 4 limbs and my motor skills are affected. Yes, it is true that I require near full assistance with all activities of daily living, from the moment I wake up to the moment in the morning to the moment I rest for bed. And yes, I must indeed ride around in a hot pink wheelchair to be most independent, at 6 miles per hour, I might add. I currently attend Adelphi University Garden City branch. I am a senior social work major with a concentration in Spanish. I was fortunate enough to grow up in a very free-spirited, fun-loving household with my mom, dad, twin brother, same disability with autism, and 3 rambunctious dogs. I participate and was widely active in programs such as the Henry Viscardi School basketball team, Southampton Fresh Air Home summer camp, and countless other extracurricular activities where I've met the most amazing and life-changing people who I've shared the fondest memories and happiest times with. They have shown me that there is nothing to be ashamed of. Instead, I bring a fire that no one else does. They have stood by me and truly helped me spread my wings, and for that I am thankful and out here living my best life. So yes, disability affects me, but not in the way you might think. I am confident I would not be here before you today without it. I am happy, I am proud of myself, of my family, of my community, and I didn't do it alone. You are not alone. Just you wait, the fire inside me is still burning. Next slide. Next slide. Lily Murphy, age 18, pronouns she, her. Next slide. My name is Lily. I'm an 18-year-old student, singer, dreamer, and aspiring professional writer who also happens to have the unique perspective of being in a wheelchair. I was born with a disability called spastic cerebral palsy. This disability affects muscle movement and balance. For this reason, I am in a wheelchair, but that does not stop me from moving towards my career as a journalist or limit me in any way. I just may need more help sometimes than other people. I live with my family, and I am currently a freshman at Suffolk Community College, majoring in liberal arts. In terms of how having a disability influences what I write, talking about my disability is a huge part of what I do. However, because of the cards I've been dealt, I always thought that everybody deserves to have their voices heard, regardless of who they are or how they identify. Storytelling is something that I believe in strongly and love being a part of it because it opens up people's eyes to new things and ideas. I am proud of who I am, regardless of my disability and the challenges that I face. I will continue to help people tell their stories and tribulations because it's what I love to do. If you see someone in a wheelchair, don't be afraid to go up to them and ask questions because we all have stories, and sometimes by telling them, we can help others. Next slide. Next slide. Hannah Music, age 15, pronouns she, her. Next slide. My name is Hannah. I am 15 years old, and I'm a 10th grader at the Henry Viscardi School. I have mixed cerebral palsy. Mixed CP is a combination of at least 2 types of cerebral palsy. This disability is caused by injuries to the brain. I cannot walk without assistance, and I have to use a power wheelchair to get around. I have to wear leg braces to keep my legs straight for the rest of my life. Although being disabled can be tough sometimes, I wouldn't trade it for anything, and you shouldn't either. People with disabilities have abilities too, and that is what this course is all about, making sure those abilities blossom and shine so that all dreams that you have can come true. Mary McAleese. Next slide. Next slide. Needy Majumder, age 17, pronouns she, her. Next slide. My name is Needy Majumder, and I am 17 years old, a senior at the Henry Viscardi School. I was diagnosed with mixed cerebral palsy at an early age. This affects my balance, coordination, and speech. My disability has taught me so much about myself and life overall. It is said that your experiences shape you, and cerebral palsy has presented me with countless number of experiences. This is why that I say that it is a huge part of me and my identity. Although it is, although this is true, my disability does not define me and is not all that I am. With that being said, I can't imagine my life without cerebral palsy. Next slide. Next slide. Kathleen Downs, age 27, pronouns she, her. Next slide. My name is Kathleen Downs, she, her, and I am a 27-year-old woman with quadriplegic cerebral palsy. I use a power wheelchair full-time, and I enjoy writing about my life as a wheelchair user, and I am a social worker who is deeply committed to social justice. My professional interests are heavily influenced by my identity as a disabled American. As someone who has been on the receiving end of many social services in my life, I know how it feels to be a client, and I do my best to show empathy to people in any setting. Both my disability and my career path have shaped my interests in progressive politics. I'm particularly passionate about healthcare access and protecting the future of Medicaid and Medicare. I am very proud to be disabled, and although I have some very challenging medical realities, my disabled sorry, I'm not sure what happened. And although I have some very challenging medical realities, my disability is an essential and integral part of me. I frequently say that disability is good and bad and hard and easy all at once. Beauty and struggle can often coexist. I strive to make my every action rooted in love, and I feel inspired by my ancestors who did just that. Next slide. Next slide. Jenna Nevitt, age 23, pronouns she, her. Next slide. My name is Jenna. I am 23 and I have neuromuscular spastic diplegia cerebral palsy. I have had CP since birth. I was diagnosed with it after my childhood doctor discovered that I wasn't hitting the typical milestones for a child my age and couldn't sit up on my own. From that moment forward, I was in every therapy you can think of, from traditional therapy, adaptive dance classes, and skiing. I tried it all. My favorite form of therapy was horseback riding. It helped me a lot with my balance, and to be honest with you, I've never let my CP stop me. I grew up in a more mainstream world than most of my friends with disabilities. To be honest, not many people that can say that they are the only person in their town with a physical disability. However, I can. I went through many years of school being the only person to educate my school system on how to respond to having a student with physical disabilities. Other than that, my disability is not something that I put much thought into. Don't get me wrong, because of my CP, I have had the honor of meeting some of the most incredible people. Sometimes, something I always like to say is that yes, I have a disability, but it's just one of many parts of my identity. Next slide. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Glo. Shall we take some questions?
Yes. Susanna Ray asked if I made this series during the pandemic and what was my process for photographing and interviewing. So I actually did make this. I started this project right around when the pandemic started, and I had plans to start this project
before the pandemic. And then the pandemic hit, and I wasn't sure how I was going to get it done. But thank God for technology and FaceTime, because there's like an option where you can take FaceTime photos now, and a lot of photographers are, coming up with FaceTime photo shoots. So it was a very collaborative project between me and my participants with the project. So we got onto FaceTime, and I had to, direct them of, where to place their cameras and how to like position themselves. And so it was a very interesting process to get that done. And then to make the process even more collaborative, I asked them to write a paragraph about themselves and how their disability intersected with their other identities, just because I wanted to get like a full scope of them and how their disabilities, intersected with their other identities, basically. How did I end up meeting and finding all of these incredible humans? Were they self-portraits? Is another question. A lot of my participants within my project were friends of mine that go to my school. My school is one of the only schools that is for students with disabilities completely. So I didn't necessarily have a shortage of people that I could ask to be in my project. A lot of my friends were very willing to be a part of my project. So I was very lucky in that department, but I'm also looking to, gain more diversity within my project and to expand. It's an ongoing project. And one of the last questions that I got was, what does intersectionality mean to me? Basically, as I have stated in my project, intersectionality to me means the coming together of all different types of community, and just uplifting each other and fighting for one another. Because if our activism isn't intersectional, then really why are we working on that activism? What does it really mean to us if we're not uplifting and helping others, really? So that's why I wanted to give my fellow disabled community members a voice. Once I was given the platform through Future Image Makers, I wanted to uplift that and to also give them a voice, because I know I've grown up feeling like I haven't had that platform. So once I was given that, I kind of just ran with it, and I wanted to make sure other people got that. So that's really what intersectionality means to me, just uplifting other communities.